Some are probably in a job today, and that job that you find on LinkedIn will probably be a job they had 3 years ago. That tells you something, that your digital footprint, your digital presence does not match the presence you should be putting forward. It starts from very simple things about creating impressions. Creating impressions is a big ticket item. How do I create impressions? The way you dress. How do I create impressions? The way you answer the phone. How do I create impressions? The way you communicate. How do I create impressions? The way I carry myself. Every inch of the way, each of these elements have something to speak to the kind of person that you are, the attributes that make you tick. So if you are very skillful, maybe you are technically skilled in some area, but when it comes to behavioral patterns and when it comes to interpersonal relationships with people, that is not particularly what people see well. What are they going to say about you? And that's why I said that having a personal brand really sits around what benefit are you giving to the ecosystem. This ecosystem starts from you, your immediate. Could be your family, could even be your friends. What are they saying? What is their perception of you as a person? Now, without a proper personal brand or a personal brand statement, you need to have a brand statement. Listen, great brands go through a process. Great brands have brand positioning. What is your own personal positioning? What is your positioning statement? You must have a brand positioning statement. That is, who is Idoren Enang? Who does Idoren Enang appeal to? Who does Idoren Enang represent? And how does he want the world to see him? That will bring to bear what I'm going to say in a very subtle way. It is an artful manipulation. You want people to address you. You want people to see you in a certain way. Can you leave that all the way through? So every brand goes through a process. The first is a physical benefit, can be from the first contact. So you are someone, the first time I met you, I went away with the wrong impression. It will be very difficult to correct that a second time. But if I meet with you in 30 seconds, first time, 5 minutes, 1 hour, and there's a great impression, I look forward to the next time, just the same way you keep brushing your teeth every morning using a particular toothpaste. That toothpaste, after a while, becomes a part of you. There is an emotional benefit called an emotional consequence. If you walk into the store, you will go first and foremost to ask for that one. Why? Because of what we call brand trust. Do you, as a person, have trust? Can you be trusted? Without that trust, then your brand will not be able to go through the entire gamut of the seasons that will be required. That's why you cannot afford to take it for granted and throw it off the cliff. You must protect your personal brand. Talking about positioning oneself for employers and for jobs, LinkedIn is a very good platform, and it does, bring that to the fore. If anything, I would say to everybody, it's important that you have great digital presence, and LinkedIn gives that particular space for professionals. But if you do not in any way manage your content in such a way that the profile that you have out there and the profile of who you are and what you want to do, there must be some sync. Many people today do not have their LinkedIn profiles updated. I mean, they are probably 10 years dated. Some are 5, some are 3. Some are probably in a job today, and that job that you find on LinkedIn will probably be a job they had 3 years ago. That tells you something, that your digital footprint, your digital presence does not match the presence you should be putting forward. So I believe strongly that a lot of us that actually want to use that platform as a way, to be seen, be acknowledged, and also to project what we have in terms of ability, in terms of skill. Knowledge is now going through some serious democratization. LinkedIn is a platform that allows you to express yourself, where you can be noted or become a notable personality around a subject area. You can frame and position yourself using LinkedIn, and ultimately, job seekers will reach out. But make sure you talk about not just your experience, what you've been able to do differently. I believe the world is stepping into a forum for thought leaders. I believe the next 5 years will be a world that will be shaped by thought leaders. And if you want to be a thought leader, you want to be known to be a subject matter expert in a certain area, LinkedIn provides a platform where you will be able to express yourself and bring those thoughts to bear. Somebody somewhere at some point will create a forum for an invitation. So if you're looking for that job, I'm saying to you, do well by ensuring that not just your executive presence, appearing at parties and social functions, or being the best guy everybody sees. Improve your digital presence. And LinkedIn is a good space for you professionals to take advantage of. Job interviews are very exciting. Honestly, I always look forward to job interviews, kind of. And by the way, let me tell you what a typical interview entails. It entails you getting into a space and people are asking you questions. They're not asking you questions about something strange. They're asking you questions about you and what you know. So if you don't know, you will not be able to tell. If you don't know, you can't say. But if you know, why aren't you confident? So the first point is you must go prepared. Now, preparations vary. Depends also on the type of job, the type of role, and the stage in your career. There are people, freshers will be, butterflies, everybody has butterflies in their tummies. But I'll tell you something, what the world needs is a tinge of humor. If you wear a tinge of humor, you can always use that to open your door at any point in time. So have some icebreakers to settle you in at any point in time. If you get in for any job interview, do something that will just allow you settle in. And it could just be crack a simple joke, and that's not something you rehearse and just make sure you come and say whatever you thought. No, be situational. You get in there and they probably are going to try to get you to settle. The response will be something humorous and everybody just laughs and they get together and then they settle down. That settles you in. Now, when the time comes, they'll ask you to tell us about yourself. Now, I hear people, my name is Idorian Anang, I come from Akwa Ibom State. I'm the son of Mr. and Mrs. Akon Asukwa Anang. That's not what they're asking you. They know your name. What they're asking you is to give them a sense in just 60 seconds. What are those punchlines that make you tick? So you must have your punchlines. Be able to express yourself and talk about from an adjective standpoint. Use adjectives to describe who you are. And then use verbs to amplify the energy you carry. And that automatically leads them to a question they didn't plan for. They will ask you a question that is leading, basically saying to you, give answers that will allow your audience, your interviewers, ask you a question based on what you've said. Lead them to where you want them to be. By the time they realize it, you've taken them through that detail and they are no longer asking you questions they had planned to ask because you have more or less taken that conversation out of their hands. You can do it. You can do it. And the way to do it is by being ahead of it. Secondly, when you are going through a technical interview is asking to see and to understand if you have the technical prowess. Do not tell stories. Be very direct. Just go straight to the point and answer the question. Technical questions require technical answers, not verbose answers. But when it comes to behavioral questions, I'll also tell you this. Most interviews or interviewers are looking for stars. This is my little gift to you. What does star mean? When they are going to take you to what I call targeted selection. If it's a panel of 3 people, and these 3 people are in 3 separate rooms, then it might be a targeted selection approach. It could be 2 people, and they will ask you questions, for example, saying, tell us about a time when you had to disagree with your boss. Do you recall a time when you had to promote a brand that was not yours? Those are questions that are around targeted selection, and I am going to give you a simple tool called the STAR approach to answer such questions. What does the STAR approach mean? S stands for situation, T stands for task, A stands for action, and R, the result. If you use the STAR approach, whenever they ask you such a question, think about the situation, then move straight from the situation to the task that was the task at hand in terms of that particular situation, the action you took, and then the results. Every time you are asked any question at an interview, use the STAR format. When you do that, you will sail through almost every and any interview. Just make sure you have your ducks in a row. The biggest mindset shift that you need as a student, moving into a work life, is to understand that it's a different day and that yesterday ended last night. The first mindset is that you are not going to continue being dependent. You now have to create what I call a place of interdependence. Interdependence comes when you are independent. So you've been dependent. The first mindset shift is to be independent. You now have to be yourself, stand for yourself, and be able to visualize and envision what you want to do so you can then enroll the right set of people to yourself. And once you're able to enroll people into your own territory, then there's that stage or mindset of interdependence, meaning that you need collaborators, you need people to work with you in the process of building your career or building what you require to be that destination, whether it's in terms of thought, or it's in terms of doing, or it's in terms of achieving a certain goal. Many times I get asked, is it okay for one to stay in a company for a long time, or have this series of jobs and then walk through? I think it's really situational and time bound. In my time, or just before my own time, you had people spend 20, 25, 30 years in a particular employ. I mean, my parents were civil servants. They doled out 35 years free of charge, working for government, and in one particular space as a public service. That has changed. In today's very competitive and highly mobile environment, it is very difficult to have employees stay that long for 2 reasons. Number 1, there's high mobility and a high request for talent. And number 2, people have become nomadic. This generation of millennials, or Generation Z, as they call them, Gen Zs, are not what the Generation X's or Y's were. This generation is very different. So it's not a straight-jacketed, answer that can be given. It's not something that anybody can say this is the way to go, but it has to do with the industry. It has to do with the capacity of the individual. It also has to do with the know-how within that industry and the level of mobility, that is required. But speaking within generations, this generation is a bit more nomadic as they are consistently on the go. So in this regard, I will expect a graduate I'll expect one who has gone through this video, what is that which you need to do? Like I did mention, I'd like you to, borrow a leaf from the swoosh sign of Nike. And it's not about the swoosh sign alone, it's about the wordings. Just do it. What do you need to do? You need to start from the point of self-discovery. Who are you? You need to discover yourself, create a portal of absolute awareness. When you move from that stage of self-discovery, you then get to self-development. The things that you need to do to make yourself stand out. And the last stage of it will be deploying all of those skills, all of those capabilities to enhance and to enlarge your capacity. When you get to the top, it's a lot tougher to stay at the top. It's harder to maintain that status, but it can be done. Stay focused and do what you need to do at the right time, at the best of your abilities, and you won't regret it ever. Take care.